All right, let's talk about something we all struggle with, whether you're a student or you've been in your job for years. How do you take all that hard work you've done and turn it into a report or a presentation that actually gets people's attention?
You know the feeling, right? You pour hours, maybe even weeks into the research. You've got the data, you've got these amazing insights, but then you submit the report and crickets. Does it really make the splash you wanted it to? Or does it feel like all your brilliant work is just getting lost in the shuffle?
Well, we're going to fix that. Right here, right now. We're going to walk through the essential steps from the first edit of your draft all the way to delivering your presentation, so that your work doesn't just get noticed, it gets the respect and the attention it absolutely deserves.
So, where do we even start this transformation? Believe it or not, it all begins with a step most of us tend to rush through, but it's the absolute foundation of everything: editing. And I'm not just talking about catching typos. This is about shaping your entire message.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Your research could be completely groundbreaking, but if the delivery is clumsy, if it's confusing, or full of little mistakes, the message is lost. Those little errors can wreck your credibility before anyone even gets to your main argument.
So when we talk about editing, what are we really trying to do? Well, it boils down to these four things. First, clarity and readability. You got to make sure people actually understand what you're saying. Second, accuracy and consistency, because, one bad step can call everything else into question. Third is professionalism. That's how you build trust. And finally, audience appropriateness, speaking the right language for the right people.
Okay, to keep this from feeling totally overwhelming, we can break the whole editing process down into a really simple 3-stage framework. And thinking about it this way stops you from trying to fix everything all at once. It's a much smarter way to work.
So here it is. First, you look at the big picture, the structure, the flow. Then you zoom in on the fine details, the actual sentences, the style. And finally, you do that final polish, the last-minute proofread to catch anything you missed. See? From macro down to micro.
In that first big picture stage, you're basically the architect of the report. You're asking, does this all make sense? Does the introduction actually set things up properly? Does each section lead logically to the next? And most importantly, do my conclusions actually connect back to the evidence I showed? You're making sure the foundation is solid.
Now let's move to stage 2, language and style. Check this out. It's such a tiny change, but wow, it makes a huge difference. Data was collected. It sounds kind of weak, a little distant, but the research team collected data that's direct, it's confident, it has energy. Just making that one switch throughout your report makes everything feel more dynamic.
And finally, we get to the last pass, proofreading. This is your final line of defense against those really embarrassing mistakes. You're hunting down grammar issues, weird punctuation, formatting that's all over the place. And look, a spell check is great, but it's not foolproof. You still have to read it yourself to catch those context errors that a computer is always going to miss.
Okay, so you've gone through all 3 stages. You've edited, you've polished, you think you're done. But hold on, there's one more crucial phase before you hit send. The final quality check. This is your last chance to see it the way your audience will. This is your final flyby. Does the whole thing flow smoothly from start to finish? Does the intro do its job? And here's a big one. Does the conclusion give people something to do, not just a boring summary? And of course, you've got to triple check that every single number, every stat, and every citation is 100% correct.
And here is probably the best piece of advice in this whole explainer. Walk away. Seriously, step away from the document for an hour, or even better, a whole day. When you come back to it with fresh eyes, you will be amazed at the clumsy phrases and typos that suddenly jump right out at you.
So, your report is looking sharp. It's polished, it's perfect. But let's be real, that's often just half the battle, isn't it? Now you have to actually present it. This is where you bring that document to life and turn it into a story that gets people to listen.
The very first thing you need to get your head around is time, or more specifically, the lack of it. You're almost never going to have time to cover everything. In a professional setting, you've probably got 10, maybe 15 minutes. That means you have to be brutal. You have to boil your message down to its absolute essence.
Now let's talk slides. Remember, they're your backup singers, not the main event. Use them for key points for a powerful graph that makes your data easy to understand. But please, whatever you do not just cram a wall of text on there and read it out loud. Your audience can read. Your job is to explain what it all means.
Confidence isn't magic. It comes from preparation. It's that simple. Rehearse your presentation until you can do it in your sleep. Time yourself so you know you won't go over.
Think about what questions people might ask, and when you're up there, stand tall, make eye contact, and speak clearly. You're the expert in the room, so own it.
So as we start to wrap this up, you can see that all of these little tactics, the editing, the reviewing, the practicing, they all point to one big, powerful idea.
And that idea is professionalism. At the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. When your work is polished, when it's coherent and error-free, you're sending a powerful message. You're telling your audience, I respect your time, my work is credible, and you need to take this seriously. That's how you build trust. That's how you make an impact. So from now on, don't think of your next report as just a document. It's not just a bunch of pages or slides. It's an opportunity. It's a tool that you can use to influence people, to share knowledge, to make something happen. So the only question left is, what impact are you going to make with it?